Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up a Harden SSH server using SSH keys and a few important techniques. Here's a quick overview of the steps we will be following. Alright, let's get started. In this video, we'll be working with CentOS as our server, and we will be connecting to it from a Linux client, specifically Ubuntu. Just a heads up, this video is focused on a Linux to Linux SSH key setup. I'll be making a second video very soon that covers how to do this from a Windows client to a CentOS 9 server. So stay tuned if you're using Windows. Alright, now we're going to get started by installing the SSH server on our CentOS machine here. So we're going to use sudo dnf, which is the package manager for CentOS, install, and then we're going to use OpenSSH/server. And this will get us downloading it right here. Typically on Ubuntu, you just write SSH, and now we have our server downloaded. We need to make sure everything is running, so we're going to use sudo systemic, and then we're going to use status SSH D. That's the daemon it uses. Now we need to make sure that it's running, so we need to use start SSH, and now it's running, and it's already enabled by default. So now we're gonna edit the SSH configuration file. The reason we want to do this is to change the port number from 22, which is its default, to 2222. And the reason we do this is just a common hardening technique, which will make it less likely for your server to be scanned by port scanners, as bots normally are set to 22 by default. We go to here and we add port 22, and this will tell the service to use port 22. We will also add permit root login no, because you do not want someone logging in as the sudo user. And this is a really important one as well, allowed users. This allows you to tell only certain users are able to actually log in to your machine, because you don't want any guest accounts be able to SSH and gain privileges that they shouldn't have. So now we will save this, and we need to also tell SELinux, which is like the security system on Red Hat systems, that we added this port for SSH. This is something you have to do or else you'll get a error. So you use SELinux port -a-t SSH underscore port underscore t minus p, and then TCP, which is what SSH uses, and then 2222, and this will tell CentMage that we're using port 222 as our for our Linux server. Now that we've made these changes, let's use sudo systemic, and then we're going to use restart to make sure our changes are all correct and we don't have any syntax errors. Systemic restart SSHD, because that's the name of the daemon it uses, and everything's working correctly. We can check that our service is actually using the nil port number if we use status, and it says right here in the bottom port 222. That tells you that everything is set correctly. Now we need to enable it through the firewall so that the service can actually reach outside the computer. And on Red Hat systems, we use firewall D instead of uncomplicated firewall, which is my favorite for its simplicity. So you use firewall permanent, and then we use add port, and it's going to equal 2222/TCP, since that's the transfer protocol we're using. Now we need to enact these changes by using reload. Alright, it says I have a oh, you have to do these dashes here. Have it reload. Now the changes are loaded. Now let's make sure this was actually added. So use firewall -cmd, and then use list all to see all the changes you've added. And we can see right here we added 222 as our nil port. Now we will go to the Ubuntu machine and generate our SSH key that we're going to be storing. So how it works is the client has the private key which unencrypts the information, and then it sends the server a public key which will be used for encrypting the information that transfers between them. So we're going to use this command called ssh/keygen -t, and we're going to use ed22519. This is one of the strongest and like modern algorithms for encryption keys. You can set a passphrase if you want to make sure that people who somehow like get into your computer can't actually steal your key. For this demonstration, I will not be setting that up. But once you actually do, all it would make you do is require to log in to use your SSH key. But so we can see our public key has been generated. Now we need to transfer this to into our server by using ssh/copy/id, and then we're gonna use /i, and then we're gonna specify where our key is generated. So we're gonna pass it the public key, and then we're gonna use port 222 for SSH, and then we're gonna put in the name of the account we're using the SSH in, and this is gonna be the private address of your computer. You can find this by typing hostname space minus capital I, and this will provide you with your IPv4 IP address. And we'll say yes, and then you enter the password on the other computer. Now the key has been transferred, and the cool thing about this command is it automatically configures the key on the nil computer. So now to make sure that this actually works, we're going to use SSH temp, and then we're going to put the address once again, and then we're going to do .1.43, and then we're going to specify, I think we specify a port number right here. So port number 2222, and then look, we just logged in without having to put in our password. Now we've completed getting our encryption key set up. We have some optional hardening that we will now add to our SSH client to make it more secure. So we're going to use nano etc ssh ./ssh dconfig. This is where we're going to go into. And now we need to enter the password on a new computer run. So we're back to the file we were just in. Now we will add this line called password authentication off, because now we have our SSH keys set up, so we no longer need our password, which is the reason why we're setting up the keys so people can't brute force into your servers. Now we're gonna set the max amount of offs to make it harder for people to guess random keys, which is it's pretty much impossible, but you might as well have it. And then we're gonna do permit empty passwords, which means no, which will make sure that accounts that don't have a password you will not be able to SSH into them. And now we will make sure these changes are actually working. We're gonna use sudo systemic, and then we're gonna use restart sshd, and then we're going to use status to see everything's working correctly. And yeah, our SSH client's working perfectly. Thank you for watching my video today, and if you enjoyed and this actually helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe to motivate me to make more content just like this.